Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and yes, I have been absent for a while. I have been putting in a lot of hours at work, and just not had a lot of time for much else, unfortunately. No major drama, which yes, I suppose that's a good thing. Nothing crazy to report, just working a lot of hours and being really tired. And even as we speak, I'm coming to you directly off of the last day of my work stretch. And even though I'm still tired and could probably stand to just relax and take a nap or something, I figured maybe I should get back on the ball and get you guys something to check out. Because what good am I as an entertainer if I'm not giving you some entertainment? I also would like to proudly report that I am very much liking Silksong. And that's gonna kind of be the... Oh my god, the curse is back! No, I thought we were done! Atlas, please go find something else to do. Okay. Alright, so what's our build looking like? Oh my god, Laced Lightning. Why? Why Laced Lightning? Okay, well. We've got very much a... We've got very much kind of a close to mid-range water-based build otherwise. Also, I've noticed that when I do random, the game really loves giving me the shift robe, even though it's like my least liked robe. So I've got one of my most disliked robes, although I guess I shouldn't say that because I dislike the grit robe more. You guys know me, if there's a defensive option, I don't mind using it, but this ain't the defensive option I had in mind. Rather, the grit robe isn't, because this is supposed to be a critical hit-based thing. It doesn't do a good job, but it is. Actually, it tries to be two different things at once. It wants to be critical hit focused, but it also wants to be evasion focused. And it doing neither one particularly well. Okay, we'll do the old linebacker tackle. God damn it, Laced Lightning. Why do you have to suck so much? Hey, look at that. Enemies just walk through it like it's not even there. God, I'm really hoping I can replace that spell. Like, I know I've said that there are a lot of other spells that I would, if I were doing just an all-Arcana tier list, that I would put kind of... let's just say low down. I swear Laced Lightning has got to be like one of the lowest. Okay, what do we got here? We want Spiraling Typhoon. Ball Lightning is really only good against single targets. Really, you're not going wrong with Aqua Beam. It also means that our build is heavily water-focused, so if I could find Royal Flush, that would be huge. So, how y'all been doing? Y'all been playing Silksong? I mean, it's kind of one of the big releases of the generation, honestly. A game that was reported, well, a game that was announced a long-ass time ago, and we've been waiting for 7 years for this game to come out, and now that it's finally here, I just have to ask, how are y'all feeling about it? Me, personally, I'm loving it, even if I haven't had a lot of time to really get super far in it. Do I take money? Or do I spend my money on the Mercenary's Dagger? I think, just based on where we are in the run, I would rather have this. What in the world? I clearly hit the wrong button there, not gonna lie. But there are some issues with Silksong that I would like to talk about now. One of them being Hornet's default downwards attack. Like, those of you who have played the original Hollow Knight know that the Knight's downward attack, obviously air-based, because if you attack downwards while you're on the ground, that's called headbutting the earth, and we ain't headbutting the earth here. But yeah, the Knight's downward attack was just a nice, concise downward swipe. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just nice, effective, got the job done, allowed for really good pogoing, and they actually used it to good effect later in the game with some of the interesting platform challenges, including the very infamous Path of Pain, which I'm sure if I don't bring up, someone in the comments will be like, yeah, you're talking about Path of Pain, right? I'm talking about the game in general, but okay, if you're gonna insist that we talk about Path of Pain, you know, I mentioned it. You happy now? Hypothetical viewer? But now, where that changes is that Hornet's default moveset actually has her doing like a downward sting attack towards the ground. Now, my issue with it isn't the idea that it's like a roughly 35 to 45 degree angle that she dives at. It's the idea that it doesn't just continue downwards like all the way to her landing point. It's like a quick shot downwards, and then she like stops it in the middle. And what bugs me about that... What is this? Whatever. But what bugs me about that is just that because it doesn't go all the way down to whatever her landing spot would be, it leads to you mistiming a lot of pogos and a lot of enemy bounces. So when you're trying to hit an enemy passing underneath you, the most difficult part isn't remembering that the skill dives at an angle, it's remembering how close you need to be to the object to hit it. That's my issue with it. Okay, we'll take this. I really don't want Laced Lightning upgrade. We'll see if we can find anything else. Maybe if we find Nocturne, I'll just give it to him. Be like, happy birthday, you can have this garbage. Oh. Well, speak of the devil. Would you like some trash? There you go, have some trash. Alright, so instead of trash, we can now take Fractal Flare, which I really like. And Sonic Breaker, which I really, really like. Alright, is there anything else I need to pick up? I don't think so. Ow. Alright, I clearly overestimated Sonic Breaker's ability to stop enemy projectiles. But, if you've been following the news on Silksong, you know that there's one issue above all that's driving people absolutely goddamn batty. And that is that a lot of the enemies in the game are doing 2 damage, which is something that was reserved in the original Hollow Knight for enemies that were meant to be like particularly imposing and powerful. In this game, it's like a lot of enemies who just have the ability to do that extra damage. And that, in combination with the idea that that this game is a lot faster than the original Hollow Knight, which, by the way, wasn't a slow-paced game by itself, either. It's really got a lot of people going, oh my god, this game is hard. Which, I mean, I play Elden Ring and Elden Ring Night Rain. I'm not concerned with a hard game. The reason why I think it's got so many people bothered is because this is such a big, just generalized release. It's got a lot of people going, oh my god, I don't know if I can handle this. Which, honestly, I think a lot of people underestimate themselves. And I will get into a story about that in just a little bit, but to continue on with my point, I think a lot of people just look at the idea that it's a hard game and go, oh god, it's gonna beat me. And it's like, no, the game is not gonna beat you. Like, this is where I take a little bit of umbrage, because I'm about to use the phrase "get good," and that is what you have to do to play Silksong. But now I think we need to do a little unpacking, because the phrase "get good" isn't meant as, like, an insult or a pejorative to be like, oh, you're just not good enough at the game, stop sucking, scrub. That's not really what that phrase means, because all of us who have played a Souls-like game have had to get good. And what it really means is, friend, don't despair. We know that the game is difficult, but if you put yourself to it, learn the enemy attack patterns and understand your foe, maybe even better than they understand themselves, then you can do it just like I did. It's not meant to be insulting. It's, for a lot of Souls players, it's the only way that they can adequately describe what you have to do. Because the actual situation that stumps people is going to be different from person to person. Alright, I think... No, there we go. I'm gonna do that. God, I love having chaotic echoes. Now, you may disagree with my take on that, and that is because a lot of people online, you know, on a lot of the popular web forums, and of course I'm about to bring up Reddit, so let's get your Redditor jokes out of the way here. Oh, son of a... Okay, I clearly got used to having Fractal Flare there. I missed like, what, 4 or 5 attacks there? Like, seriously. And make no mistake, I do very much see Hollow Knight Silksong as a Souls-like game. The enemy attack patterns are quick, they can be very unforgiving, and you've got to get your shit right if you want to handle the enemies. So yes, I very much view it as a Souls-like. The Souls-like Metroidvania, which, let's be fair, is very heavy on... The game is very heavy on exploration, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love exploring. And that's part of the reason why I'm moving so slowly through the game, is that I'm spending a lot of time exploring. Hello. I was just talking about that earlier. There we go. Oh, beautiful. Just getting the Curse Eater's Mask helps so much. But then the 8% damage increase to Water Arcana, very nice. Alright, so now on to the story that I was going to tell about the whole get good thing. And that is that, yes, absolutely surprising no one, my roomie and best buddy is currently playing Silksong as well. He's a big fan of Metroidvanias. And yes, he absolutely curb-stomped the original Hollow Knight as well. But yes, he is currently playing through the game as well, and he just recently took on what I feel so far is the hardest boss in the game, and I know a lot of you who are just going off of people's word of mouth and some of the game's journalist headlines are going, oh, I bet it's Morwing, I bet he had tons of problems with Morwing. No, I'm talking about the Savage Beastfly. I don't know what the hell is up with that boss, but it felt like it felt over-tuned to the point where it's just not fun to deal with. To give you an idea, yes, it suffers from the dreaded I do double damage syndrome. But the problem is that it also summons a lot of additional enemies to really compound its already quick movement and screen covering shenanigans, mostly through quick movement. Hold on. I'm gonna buy this sword. Then I'm gonna wait. Yes, I think I am going to buy the sword, but I want to hold on to it, so... You know, because of the royal flush, so... Oh yeah, that's right. You can have shock assault. Why, thank you. Which means we're gonna have to say goodbye to Fractal Flare, but... Honestly, I think it'll be better that way. Don't get me wrong, I like Fractal Flare, but because we have Royal Flush, I definitely want there to be the higher damage on my water-based Arcana. So when we switch the Electric Sword for the Icy Sword, it'll go up to 12%. Why not just do that now? Because we're going up against a water-based boss, and I want to have electric damage for that. Seems sensible. But the whole reason why I bring it up is because I feel as though the Savage Beastfly, of all the bosses I've battled so far, is probably the hardest boss in the game thus far. And yeah, he took down that thing. He was able to figure out how to handle it even without some of the more optimal strategies. And that's what I mean by get good. It's not like I didn't sit there and make fun of him. I watched as he picked up on the fight and what needed to happen. And yeah, he managed to get through it just fine. Like he even had an easier, not necessarily strategy for the fight, but for the run back leading up to it, because that was one of the areas where I had the biggest trouble, is that my run back was just really long to get back to the boss to give it another try. Oh, hello. We definitely want that. So now I need to decide, do I want the Wanderer's Mechanism, or do I want the Lotus Frost Stone? I think Wanderer's Mechanism because I have multiple Arcana that are actually pushing enemies away from me. Oh, thank you. So, for those who kind of need a little bit of assistance for Silksong, I can give you some very generalized ideas as to things that I think would help out. The first, outside of the generalized get good statement, which at this point is more so me repeating it just because it sounds funny. So first thing I would do is understand that Hornet's moveset isn't going to be the same as the Knight's. She's her own character, and I'm glad they remembered that. She's not just it's not just the Knight 2.0. Nuts. I thought I could dodge through it. And I think that's the reason why so many of the enemies do as much damage as they do, is because it's kind of them playing around with the idea of, yeah, Hornet is her own character. She's very agile, and the whole point is to keep, maybe not necessarily keep away from enemies, but to nimbly dodge around them. So perhaps the idea is like, that they're trying to get across is, yeah, maybe Hornet just doesn't have the same armor as the Knight. Yeah, we'll take that over the prescription bottle. I don't know if I care, honestly. We'll see how we're doing later in the level, but yeah, as of right now, I don't really care about upgrading this robe. Though I should, because it does boost critical hit chance from plus 5 to plus 7.5, which, yeah, I know it's not a huge difference, but you know, that 7.5% does make some difference in your DPS, otherwise it wouldn't be worth mentioning. Yes, we upgrade that. The other thing that I would say to people kind of struggling with Silksong's difficulty is, remember Hornet's tools. They're kind of there in the same vein as the Knight's magic, and they're very effective. Like, once you remember that you have those tools at your disposal, it becomes a lot easier to deal with things. Now, if you're anything like me, and you like to save a video game resource until you absolutely must use it, don't do that. The resource in this case is shell fragments that you use to repair your tools, because in between benches, you have a limited number of times you can use them. So a lot of people, myself included, will look at that and go, yeah, but I don't want to use them. I don't want to use up all the shells in case I need them for something else. I'll just play it conservatively. The game does not want you to play it conservatively. Just go in there, throw your knives, and smash that face. Because it's just going to make the game easier for you, and it's going to make Hornet's moveset a lot more fun. Like, you'll start to really understand what the character is about. She's a gadget character. Whereas the Knight is what I would call a paladin. And there is nothing wrong with either playstyle. It's just, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, they are two very different characters. They have some similarities, sure, but that doesn't mean that you can or should play one like they're the other. Sorry, Earthlancer's just kind of got me a little stressed. Not like heavily stressed or anything, not like, you know, working a bunch of days in a row without a day off or anything, but... anything here I like? I'm thinking not. And I'm gonna hold on to my Relic Rewards card, because I still have one more shop after this. So in conclusion, I say with Silksong, is the game hard? Sure, of course it's hard. But I don't see that as a bad thing, and I don't think you should see it as a bad thing either. I don't know when people started collectively maybe not, maybe I think I don't think it's players. Because yeah, there's a contingent of players out there that of course are going to complain about every difficult game because some people think that, you know, if there's content in a game, everyone should be able to reach it, otherwise it's a mark of bad game design. And I say to you, when did it become bad to want to challenge your players? Doesn't make sense to me. Like, do I understand why some people would get frustrated that there's parts of a game that they can't get through? Sure, but understand that there being content in a game that you're not necessarily seeing isn't necessarily the mark of a bad game. It's the mark of a game with a decent amount of content. Oh, hello. Hold on. That's useful. And that actually means that now I can just get rid of that. Now, some of you may very much disagree with my take on that, and I apologize if it's one of those things that sounds contentious, but what I'm trying to get at is that some games with a lot of content offer content that is there for the people who want to put in the hours and the time to practice, and not everyone necessarily has that amount of time. I don't know, I might just be burying myself a little bit more. The point is, the game is hard, but I don't think it's hard to the point where it's like, you know, where it's like unplayable or anything. You know, honestly, I remember I remember reading an article where it was written by a game journalist, go figure, who was saying something along the lines of, like, they were praising a game that looked, I don't know, mediocre to me. I think it was South of Midnight, if I'm not mistaken. Owie. But one of the features in the game is that, for the most part, boss fights are optional. You don't have to complete them, you don't even have to participate in them if you don't want. Which means that you could completely eliminate any and all challenge in the story and just, you know, experience the narrative, which that seems like a good idea until you realize the challenge is why we're playing the video game. If all we wanted was the narrative, we could just watch a goddamn movie. So, as per usual, game urinalists just being game urinalists. Sorry, but making boss fights optional is not some sort of, like, revolutionary step forward in game design that they seem to think it is. Definitely want that. What are you? Don't care. No, because we want that. Okay, so I think we go ahead and drop these. Actually, no, we don't. What we do is we drop something. Okay, don't really care. So let's start going through the cheap ones, looking for something really like that. That seems good. And now we can just drop this and take our Puffy Parka back. Yes, I know the ideal move there would be to continue spending money on relics until I got a couple more things that would be defining for this build. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't just pass on the game just because you heard it was difficult. If anything, that's a reason why you should really enjoy and appreciate it. Because it's offering a good challenge with a lot of content for a really good price, and that, I think, is something that a lot of people, for some reason, are viewing as a bad thing. That's another thing that's going on with Silksong, is that there's a lot of controversy around the game that I don't understand, because it's just them. They just made a good game, that's all, and some people are really mad about it. Like, seriously, the salt mines are rife with AAA devs just bitching up a storm. But I think that's all I've got for right now. Seriously, if you haven't picked up Silksong, please do so. It's reasonably priced, and it's going to give you a lot of content, especially if you're planning multiple plays through like I am. That is all I've got for you for right now, so thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate your continued support, your patience, and of course, you coming to spend your free time here with me today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you take care.